Oasis. My name's Lori Kellogg, and I'll be pleased and welcome. I am pleased to welcome those here in our community center and those joining on Facebook Live and YouTube to Kansas City Oasis. Since 2014, Oasis has been the premier secular alternative to faith-based communities. We welcome all, regardless of beliefs or non-beliefs, race, gender, sexual orientation, identity, or any other trait. We feel the human experience is better when it's shared, and we are so pleased you have chosen to share it with us this morning. Man, I was fine all morning. I have vocal cord dysfunction. It's really exciting. We are gathered around our core 5 beliefs. People are more important than beliefs. Reality is known through reason. Human hands solve human problems. Meaning comes from making a difference, and be accepting and be accepted. Today's program includes Mary Smead. Where in the world is the Lakeside Nature Center? Our musical guest is Fenwa Teryen, and our community moment will be Nick Clark. Our Fenwa, come on up. Fenwa is a musician, voice actor, MC, Twitch streamer, and goth cowboy. This is his second appearance at KC Oasis, but will be relocating outside of Kansas City later this month. Let's welcome back Fenwa to play a couple of songs to start us off.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Hi. Good morning, everybody. So yeah, my name is Fenwa. It's a pleasure to be back here. Like a lot of you, I was raised in a religious town and upbringing. I'm from St. Louis. I was raised Roman Catholic, and deprogramming from that. Maybe not everybody in here has or feels the need, but that's quite a thing to go through, both personally and your relationships with your family, your friends, your school, etc. But this is a song that's kind of about that, and it's also, hey, we got a blood moon coming up September 7th, so this song will be out on streaming platforms by then, so you can listen to it and be like, I remember that guy, he wore a hat. Anyway, it's called The Mississippi. Have you ever made love to the devil under that blood moon, making you shiver and shake, making your heart swoon? Well, I gave all my love to the Mississippi. I can die 1,000 deaths, so wish you were with me. Well, I know I'm doomed, but I don't give a damn. It's all chaos and gloom. You ain't got no grand plan. I'm feeling tired of fictions and fables. I'm faking desire and being mislabeled. Well, I'm whispering to a snake. I got a soul to take. Just look the other way. Don't forget to deny me. Have you ever made love to the devil under that blood moon, making your head spin, drinking that witch's brew? Now, well, I gave her my body to the Missouri, and even to this day, ain't no one found
just a lonesome man living in a broken land. I'm feeling tired of proverbs that ain't true. I'm faking desire and chasing after you. Well, I'm whispering to the trees. I can't seem to hear the leaves. Just look the other way. Don't forget to condemn me. Have you ever made love to the devil under that blood moon, making you shiver and shake, making your heart swoon? Well, I gave up my love to the Mississippi, and I can die 1,000 deaths. I still wish you were with me. Grazie molto bene. For those of you who have string instruments, you know that living in the Midwest is a hell of a thing. And, you know, it rains, so I'm gonna, if you're like, he's tuning on stage, I heard on TikTok, you're not supposed to do that. But anyway, sometimes you have to do it. So anyway, I'm tuning. If you're like, this is a weird song, it's just a tune. There we go. Alrighty. Well, so also, the 4 songs I'm playing today are from an EP I'm actually releasing on Friday. And if you're like, I kind of like this sad, kind of not sad music, there is my link tree right there. It's a QR code. If you're trying to open it in Venmo, you'll be very confused. So it's just a normal QR code. And there I'll eventually have, a pre-save link, and you could follow me on all the socials. And if you're like, I don't like social media, there's this wonderful app called Bands in Town. I highly recommend it if you're like, I want to know where bands are playing, but I don't want to follow their Facebook and Instagram and yada yada, etc. Da 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 da. So that's a good option for you. Okay, I'll stop talking about it. Yes, it is. It is everywhere where you see this name, where you're like, that looks like Fenwa or Teryen. That's that guy. So yes. All right. This next song is for anybody who has been or is still trapped in an abusive relationship. And if you feel like there's no way out and there's no hope, just please reach out to your friends and your family, because I guarantee they want to hear from you and they want to help you. And I hope maybe this resonates for some of y'all. I thought my heart was a straight line, a shot in the dark at empty street signs, a grade perhaps to combat the stacks of the burdens untold, unbidden on. I thought my heart was a straight line to pieces of the past and parts to rewrite, an eternal fall from the first leaf call to the quiet in her eyes with every moonrise. And now I'm reaching for the green light with an empty shape of her haunting my side. I tell them I'm fine, I'm stable, I'm happier now, but damn, what a lie. What a lie. I try to live by. My hope is gone like a smoking gun, fading out to a black screen credit scene. And now I'm reaching for the green light with an empty shape of her on my side. Not selling, I'm fine, I'm stable, I'm happier now. But damn, what a lie. What a lie. I thought my heart was a straight line, a tie and tattered string I try to live by. My hope is gone like a smoking gun, fading out to a black screen credit scene. And now I'm reaching for the green light with an empty shape of her haunting my side. I tell them I'm fine, I'm stable, I'm happy now. But damn, what a lie. Oh, thank you very much. And now, back to your MC of the day.
Thank you, Fenwa. And you can use his Venmo account as listed above. Birthdays this week: August 11th, Rusty Ramon. August 12th, Shaylee Bollinger. Anniversary: Clay and Melanie Bollinger on August 9th. Does anybody else have a birthday or celebration they would like to share right now? Cool. Well, every day's a holiday for kids, right? Let's give a big round of applause for our volunteer of the week. Susan Rose Nickel has organized the rummage sale for the last 2 years. Organizing and running the rummage sale takes a lot of time. She volunteers on Mondays to represent Oasis at Micah Ministries. She was instrumental in planning our Snake Saturday float, which we won, second prize? That was a haul. Susan is on our landscape committee. She planted and maintains our native garden. She also helped prepare our building for use. Thank you, Susan, for helping us grow. Where is she? Through her efforts, everyone who assisted in the rummage sale, Oasis raised a little over $3,000 in 3 days. Thank you again, Susan. Speaking of great volunteers, we are always looking for more to round out our committee to assist with our weekly Sunday gatherings. In the lobby near the drink station, actually in front of the blue curtain, you can pick a card during coffee break and after our meeting, and you can help from the Need Help box when you complete the task and place it in the All Done. Blue cards are intended for weekly tasks, and white cards are for monthly tasks. If you love this secular community, help us out to keep it going. Micah Ministry serves hundreds of people a meal on Monday evenings from 5:15 to 7:15. They help anyone regardless of race, gender, religious or non-religious affiliation, sex, sexual orientation, or any other trait. Come join us in helping our less fortunate neighbors. That's up in northeast Kansas City, Missouri. The Swingsters are proud to present a 4-week beginner Charleston series this Tuesday, August 12th, and Tuesdays for 4 weeks for a beginner-friendly yet progressive dive into the Charleston line dance. This class does not require a partner to participate. The class will consist of a 45-minute instruction-led session followed by a 15-minute practice period. While this class will remain beginner-friendly, it will be progressive, so plan to join us for a four weeks if you can. $15 per class. Monday, August 25th, join us to watch and sing along to your favorite musicals. Bring your own food and drink and a comfy seat. We will start the movie at 6 p.m. This month it is Grease. Thursday, August 28th is our next game night. Bring your favorite board games and a snack to share. Let's roll the dice, shuffle the cards, and make some great memories together. Join fellow Oasians for a potluck picnic in English Landing Park in Parkville on Sunday, August 35th. Grills and a playground are available. Bring food, chairs, and outdoor games, and let's have a party. We will be in the East Shelter. Although the 31st is the 5th Sunday of the month, we will not have a blood drive on this day. If you donate during our last service Sunday blood drive, you're eligible to donate again starting August 24th at a donation center around the city. The Book Club. August Book Club is the absolute true diary of a part-time Indian by Sherman Alexie. The book club will take place here in the Oasis building and not at the picnic site. Community moments are an opportunity for a member of our community to present on a topic of their choice during a Sunday gathering. Topics can be related to your profession, hobbies, travel experiences, volunteer experiences, etc. For today's community moment, we will hear from Nick Clark. The 3 words to describe him are caring, curious, and driven. If they had a warning label, it would be, will ramble forever if left attended. So, all right.
Alrighty, hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about philosophy, and don't worry, I'm going to keep it interesting, I promise. But when I first deconstructed back like 4 or 5 years ago, right before I was about to start college, the thing I turned to after leaving behind the faith was philosophy. I had that question a lot of us have when we first kind of walk away from that sort of thing, and we go, well, what does it all mean, right? All the big questions, all the big answers that religion usually has, I had again, all over again. So I turned to philosophy. All right, so I know it sounds like we're going to cover a lot. Promise, this is a very high-level overview, so I'm going to keep it all very digestible and fun. But first, we're going to talk about Socrates and Descartes. And if you haven't heard those names before, I promise you'll recognize them. And then we're going to talk about some misconceptions, some, often had misgivings about philosophy overall. And then it's going to be big, scary word time, and we're going to talk about ontology and epistemology. And then I'm going to make the final point, and you'll see why this is called Everything is Philosophy. Okay, so Socrates. Raise your hand if you've heard of Socrates. Yeah, okay, that's most people. Right. What people don't really know about him is part of the reason why he's this big founder of philosophy in the Western canon of philosophical tradition is because he brought it down from the kind of closed chambers of the wealthy and into the public square by literally walking around the public square and going, woe is me, what is love, what is justice, somebody help me. And then some, high-thinking citizen would come up to them and be like, well, justice is this. And then he would engage them in fierce philosophical debate and he was kind of the OG rage baiter, really. He just kind of like lured people into conversations and then made philosophy widespread from there. Fun fact, Socrates never wrote anything down. Everything we know of his actual ideas comes from his pupil Plato and Plato's dialogues, which are another big notable work in the history of philosophy. And then Descartes, who, raise your hand if you've heard of Descartes. Okay, more people than I would have expected. So he's the other kind of big founder of philosophy type figure, even though he comes another 1,500 years later in the history of Western philosophy. He's Mr. I think, therefore I am, or cogito ergo sum, if you want to be pretentious about it. And his Meditations on First Philosophy, where he originally came to the conclusion, I think, therefore I am, was originally, or actually is, an attempted thorough proof of God's existence, which I thought was very interesting when I originally went to it, because this work is usually thought of as like a big cynical or kind of skepticism work, because in his first meditation he like tears down everything you can rely on, like your sense perceptions and all this kind of stuff. And he comes to, I think, therefore I am, which is a conclusion about how he can only be sure that he exists while he's thinking about his own existence. So it's this like very bare bones skepticism, cynicism type claim. But then meditations 3 through 6 in the rest of the work are all about building off of that in a way that I think is a little flimsy, but to like create a thorough proof of God. So I thought that was fascinating. But he's typically thought of as the founder of modern philosophy, so from him forward is kind of its own contemporary tradition. So there's kind of Socrates to Descartes, and then Descartes forward. It breaks down into more categories, but that's pretty much it. All right, we're going to talk about misconceptions. It's really cool, I promise. So broadly, it's often thought that philosophy is kind of useless. You know, what are all these old people doing, going around talking about what the meaning of life is, right? And while it can sometimes get very caught in the weeds of its own verbiage and language, it has plenty of practical uses, like helping to guide behavior, developing rhetorical argument, debate skills, keeping an open mind, all those sorts of things. It's often thought that philosophy is just fancier self-help. And while it can definitely provide guidance and guiding principles of behavior, it's much more nuanced and wide-reaching than simply self-help, as previously mentioned, rhetorical argument, debate, open-mindedness, etc. Philosophy is just thinking about stuff. Like any other field, there's certainly a lot of thinking that goes on, but philosophy is much more than that: analysis, argument, discourse, and so on. Philosophy is entirely subjective. While there are a lot of contemporary voices you'll hear that will widely embrace subjectivism or moral subjectivism, ethical subjectivism, what have you, there are plenty in kind of the history of philosophy, like Immanuel Kant, who actually embrace the exact opposite and claim that everything is like holistically objective. So philosophy is a lot of things. All right, petty and specific time. This is just me airing out beef I have with some philosophical claims. So everybody thinks Nietzsche was a nihilist. No, he wasn't. I'll get into it more if you want to talk about it later. But a lot of people also think that Albert Camus' absurdism is just like giving up, because he talks about like walking away from the essential existential questions. And it's actually really hopeful if you get into the second half of his work. So read some Camus. It's cool stuff. Stoicism is about shutting off your feelings. Despite the many conservative voices that are often trying to co-opt the Stoics in modern day and make it this kind of macho alpha male thing, if you read the originals like Seneca and those folks, it's more about controlling your response to things and not immediately assuming everything is at base positive or negative to you, and kind of waiting around for the total impact to occur before you make a judgment. And then there's also a misconception that most Greek philosophers had really similar viewpoints. And actually, the reason why philosophy kind of blossomed out of ancient Greece was because there was all sorts of debate and rhetorical argument. Most of the pre-Socratics and all those who came after Socrates had widely different views and beliefs about a bunch of stuff, so they were arguing all the time, which is kind of what kept philosophy relevant. All right. Big scary words. We're going to talk about ontological assumptions. Okay, so ontology, what does it mean? It's the branch of metaphysics dealing with the nature of being. Or in more plain terms, what even is stuff? This is where you get things like the ship of Theseus, you know? For those who haven't heard, it's the kind of, you have a boat, it erodes over time, you replace the pieces of wood over time. When does it stop being the original ship? Is it ever not the original ship? This is the classification of things. Raise your hand if you think the chair you're sitting on exists. Good job, you're doing ontology. So one of the central questions that would then be asked as a follow-up as you get into ontological assumptions and arguments is what specifically makes it a chair. If I took a knife to one of your chairs and slowly shaved away the foam or the metal or what have you, similar to the ship of Theseus, when does it stop being that chair? At what point do we recategorize it as stuff? What influences why we categorize it as one thing versus another? More big words. Epistemological assumptions time. I'm just now realizing I screwed up a title on this. Don't worry, pretend that says epistemology and examples. All right, so the theory of knowledge, especially with regards to its methods, validity, and scope. Epistemology is the investigation of what distinguishes justified belief from opinion, otherwise known as how do we know stuff. Who here's heard of Plato's cave or the allegory of the cave? Yeah, this is that stuff. Also, a more contemporary example, simulation theory, right? Can we trust our sense perceptions? What's in front of us? How do we know what's in front of us? How do you know the chair you're sitting on exists? Not why is it a chair? So, raise your hand if you think your senses are a reliable source of information about the world around you. Yeah, you see more hands, right? That's because epistemology has become a lot more nuanced over time, and we're starting to realize, optical illusions, all these other sorts of things. Science is starting to catch up with us in the philosophy world and say, epistemology is not as straightforward as we might have used to think it was. All right, finale time. Woo! Okay, with epistemological and ontological beliefs underpinning every philosophical system, the presence of philosophical systems become hard not to notice. So now that you know that just thinking the chair you're sitting on is philosophy, it becomes evident that it's hard to avoid, right? There's assumptions underlying all of the different values, decisions, and beliefs everybody makes all the time. In order to make decisions, go about the course of our lives, and especially exist with one another, these epistemological and ontological assumptions, which function on a near subconscious level, are necessary. And there also needs to be some level of agreement about it. I know we're in a divisive time. Everybody thinks we disagree on everything. But if we all agree the chair exists, that's something, at the very least. But all the same, there's layers underneath. From any claim about hierarchy, ethics, or even acted out values, the undercurrent of philosophy is there. All right, thanks for listening.
Coffee break. It's time for the coffee break. And I'm going to find it. And you're off. We'll see you in 20. I can talk again. All right. So Fenway's back on stage with us for another song. Thank you, Fenway. Take it away.
Oh, thank you very much. It's okay.
Fenwa.
You know, when you look at the name, you're like, what is this name? So it's, hey, don't worry about a thing. And also, that makes it memorable, the misconstructions. All right, forgive me, it's wet outside. Alrighty. This next song, it's called Maiden of Crimson, and I hope you like it.
How can it be in the weight of all the wreckage, of bodies cast to sea and broken by the passage? The deep calls to me like the siren to young sailors, but fortune, it seems, is only for the breakers. When autumn storms are rolling, I wish they'd stay forever and take me when they leave. The day I was born, the gods must have cursed me to sail the world alone and make love to memories, to memories. I'm not one for cutting a line, and the damage of winter is mended with time, and I've got time. A title that I own to the head of an anchor, shattered on the reef and was lost in foreign waters. Distant harbor sits with the lighthouse ever burning, somewhere it was writ to be a home for the brave. When autumn storms are rolling, I wish they'd stay forever and take me when they leave. Till the day I die, even though there be dragons, I'd sail to the edge for the maiden of crimson.
And next, well, thank you very much.
Do you have any local events going on? And you're performing locally any place this coming weeks?
Funny enough, 20 minutes before I started this set, I was told that a show I thought I had, I'm not on it, so
Oh.
I don't. So, hey, things happen. That's showbiz. That's Chicago. But there is the EP being released on Friday, and you know, that's nice. You know, put that. Sorry, no shows anymore.
He's moving out of town, winding it down here in Kansas City. All right, we just want to remember that our program is designed to generate conversation and engage our powers of reason, not as a forum to start debates. The following presentation has been prepared by our speaker and not by KC Oasis. Please respect the views of our speaker, and if you have any questions, a Q&A portion will follow as time permits. Mary Smead grew up spending lots of time in the pastures and creeks of her grandparents' farm. She loved finding critters and plants of all sizes and shapes. After teaching elementary school for 30 years and raising a family, good job, she discovered the Missouri Master Naturalist Program. which led her to working at the Lakeside Nature Center. She now volunteers weekly in the animal hospital there and serves on the board as the conservation chairman and friend of Lakeside Nature Center. Oh, there we go. Welcome, Mary Smead.
Thank you very much for inviting me here today to speak to you. Lakeside Nature Center is a real passion of mine, as well as quite a few other people. So any opportunity I have to blab about it and share what they do there, I'm always happy to do it. My title for the presentation today was, Where in the World is Lakeside Nature Center? I'm always just shocked to know that people who have lived in Kansas City their whole life have no idea where it is located or what we do. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about it. So this is all about it here. And it was begun in 1983 by a core group of people, and one of which is still a member of our board. And they saw the need for care for native Missouri animals. And so they came together and they decided to try to organize and help other people. Oops, I'm hitting it. There we go. Sorry, bumped it. So now we have well over, sometimes as many as 150 volunteers. I would say probably out of those 150 volunteers, we have probably about 45 who are very active and work there all the time. So we can talk about Friends of Lakeside Nature Center, which is a 5013C organization, and they have a threefold purpose. Whoops, I'm bumping that real easily. Education, rehabilitation, and conservation fall under that umbrella of what Friends does. The first one I want to speak to you about is education. As you can see, coming here and talking to you is one of the primary activities that we have. We also serve a lot of STEM and STEAM events with high schools and middle schools, as well as animal encounters. You can have your birthday parties there at Lakeside for a fee, and then during that birthday party, you can bring in all your own materials, your food, your drinks, your decorations, but then one of our naturalists comes in with usually 3 to 4 of our animals and sits the kids right around, and they are able to have a hands-on experience with those animals. So it is really a great education experience. We also do lots of field trips. So, and people can just on their own organize field trips and come and visit. It's pretty self-explanatory. One thing I do like to mention is when you come into the front door of it, there is a counter there of sheets that you can take, and the kids can go through and find all the animals that are listed on those sheets. So that makes it really fun. There's also an opportunity to make a donation then if you'd like. Friends is strictly supported by donations, and we do a lot for the center, which I will talk about. The biggest one that we do financially is the rehabilitation. This was our admission rate for 2024. As it started out in 1983 and grew from there. We used to be housed in the little concession stand that was owned by Swope Park, by the zoo, and it's right down by Lake of the Woods Lake. We were there until 1999 when our new building was completed, and it was completed through a partnership of Friends of Lakeside Nature Center, the City of Kansas City, and the Missouri Department of Conservation. However, that being said, of course, every project like that goes over budget. So when we began meeting there in 1999, we have rooms for all of our animals that are in the hospital there. So we have a room just for mammals, a room just for birds, and a room just for reptiles, as well as we keep our own supply of mice. We were so poor at that point because they had cut back on our budget with the city and the state that there weren't doors to these rooms. So the Friends of Lakeside Nature Center stepped up and did another campaign, and now at that time we were able to have doors for them. One of the other things that why I have on this shirt is every year we do a 5K and either a 10 or 11K run. We also have a walk with it, a 5K walk, and we're trying to raise money because the city only provides us with so much money for rehabilitation. And it costs a lot of money to feed and rehabilitate. We figure for every owl that comes in with the amount of time that they're housed there, which can sometimes be maybe only 2 or 3 days, but sometimes, like a few years ago, we had a hawk that came in and he was severely burned. He had ended up down at one of the Kansas City or Independence dump sites, and they have those pipes that come out of the ground to release methane. He chose that spot to land on, and about that time a plume of methane gas came out and burned him severely. He was still alive and someone brought him in. That bird was at Lakeside for 5 months, rehabilitating, and everybody was pulling for him. So I can gladly say he was re-released. But it costs on average about $50 for every animal that comes in. So it is rather expensive. I just saw the invoice for a recent order for rats and mice and birds that we have to order for the company. They come in frozen, and that usually lasts us about 3 months to feed our animals there, our education animals, as well as the animals in the hospital, and that carries a price tag of over $3,500. Usually on one of these runs, we raise about $6,500 to hopefully $8,000 or $9,000, as well as then we have coming up in October, we have a dinner theater, which is really, really fun to go to, and it is audience participation. So it's a buffet and then the play that goes on. So I can give Jennifer more information about that, but we'd love to see some of you come to it. It's really a lot of fun. And we also do sometimes fundraisers during the year, but those are our 2 primary fundraisers. As far as total admissions, everyone seems to be, wowed by the raptors that we get in. And you can see we took in over 1,000 last year. Not very many herps, but a lot of mammals. Our primary songbird that we get in is usually a robin. I'll come in the morning on a Thursday, that's my shift, and there'll be a room full of robins flying around, and my job is to come in with a little tray of earthworms that are all cut up and try to feed all of them. Sometimes they land on your head. I mean, you never know where they're going to land, but they are so fun because they all just stand there with their mouths wide open. So that's been a lot of fun to do. Let me show you a few pictures about them. So for over the years now, we have admitted well over 50,000 animals. And we had a low in 2013 of 2251. They said they felt like that was mainly due to a good weather at that point. Usually the more bad weather we have, the more animals that come in, the more trees that come down. Animals are subject to all kinds of weather events. So we usually end up with a lot more. But since COVID, people have become more aware of the natural environment, and so they're out there and they're wanting to help critters. So if you find an animal that is either abandoned or injured, and it truly is abandoned, many times we'll have little animals, we get so many birds that are fledglings. That means they're old enough to leave the nest, but they're like teenagers. They're not on their own. So mom pushes them out of the nest, and they do a lot of hopping around on the ground, and a lot of times they're nosy, and they hop right into garages, and people find them, and they say, oh, I found this poor little bird, and I don't know what to do with him. And so they bring him to us, and we say, you need to take him, if we check him out to make sure he's healthy, and if he's healthy, we say, you need to take him back. You need to put him where you think the tree was. More than likely, mom is hunting for him desperately, mom and dad. And if he's too little, you can put him up into a little basket in the tree, and mom will come and find him there. Or same thing with the squirrel. or baby rabbits, that type of thing. If they're not injured, we want them to be back with their parent. So here we go. I'll go on, and they are so darn cute. You just can't help but just fall in love with them. All raptors that are born white. Even a black turkey vulture that's black all over except for the red on his nose is born pure white. This is Hootie, which was our education owl that we received. Hootie lived with us for about, Linda, I think it was about 18 years Hootie was with us, something like that. And this is Glug, one of our turkey vultures, and he is still with us there, but as white as can be. We go to great pains to make sure that native birds, they're not our education animals, can go back into the wild, and so they'll do whatever it takes to make sure they stay wild. Now we used to have about 15 education animals, but some of our animals have been like 28, 18 years old, and so we've lost one every year the last 3 years, so we're down to 12 education animals. And those are animals that came into us that were injured, but they were able to be rehabilitated, but not to the point where we could release them into the wild. They have some sort of injury, like one of our, we have 2 eagles, one of which has an eye injury, and all raptors, like hawks and eagles, they have to hunt with using both of their eyes, and so one had a bad eye, so he was therefore not able to be re-released, but he was healthy. So we kept him on, got permission through the state to keep him on as our education eagle. The other eagle had part of his wing missing. But other than that, he was very healthy, so we got him healthy and kept him as well. And it's so funny to watch because he always thinks he can fly. So he'll start at his perch and he'll take off, and then he just spirals right down to the ground. Bless his heart. We have ramps and he just walks right back up on his ramp back. So he's pretty funny. But we take in lots of ducklings that do this as well, and we always try to reunite them with parents, or with ducklings it's kind of impossible, so we look for a flock that has birds about the same age, and mama doesn't care, she takes them right in. All right, so here we go. We accept all species of native birds, but except we have people who sometimes want us to take their pet chickens that they no longer want. Those don't come to us. Those can go across the street, perhaps to Kansas City Pets over there. We don't take any, but sometimes people will leave them at the door for us and we find them in the morning. So just so you know, we just take native birds and animals. And European starlings and house sparrows, those are considered invasive species. If you bring them to us and they are healthy, we have a little kit that we can send you home with to feed the baby birds and get them on their own, and they're very successful that way. Otherwise, if we do get in some that are injured, we don't tell anybody, but we cake them in and we just don't write a chart on them because they're so good-hearted there. We are a no-kill facility if we know that the prospect of rehabilitating is possible. If we see an animal is so severely injured, like I was working last week and we got in a turtle that had been hit by a car, and half of his shell was missing. And there was no way we were going to be able to rehabilitate him, unfortunately. So we do euthanasia at that point for animals that are not able to be rehabilitated. But let me tell you, they really do their best to get the animals rehabilitated if they feel there's a possibility. And they are so darn cute. You can see we have a baby fox and a baby coyote, and that was a baby bobcat we got in a few years ago. And we get in a lot of deer. One word to the wise about deer. If you see a baby deer out in the wild and you think, oh, he's all by himself, he's been abandoned, what should I do? I mean, we've even had a mail carrier bring a baby fawn in his mail truck to us. Let me tell you, for the most part, that mom is around. But mom has a scent. The babies do not. So during the day, while she's foraging, she keeps a distance from the baby because that baby is less likely to be attacked. So she's keeping an eye on him, but she just doesn't make a presence known. And then during dusk, then mom comes back, takes the baby and feeds them and finds a place for the night for them to lay down. So more than likely, mom is around. So please watch, and sometimes it means a couple of days until you see mom appear. But just don't automatically assume that mom is missing. All right, mammals. We accept all species of native mammals except pets. We one time had someone try to give us a monkey. And, we're just not equipped to handle animals like that. And, of course, my friend who helped me do this, Debbie Barker, helped me do this. She said, "You've got to put that in there. We can't accept your annoying little brother or sister." So there you go. All righty. And reptiles. We have 75 species documented in the state of Missouri, and we have had at least 45 species. We have some breeds of turtles that I have never seen before, and they're quite fascinating, very fascinating. Linda was instrumental in working for several years with our turtles and has taken some home and kept them for the winter, because if you bring a turtle to us in the fall and it's already frosted at some point, that turtle stays with us all during the winter. We make a playpen for them, and we put in lots of substrate that mimics the kind of environment they like to live in. And every day those turtles get misted, and every other day they get fed. And then those that are injured are rehabilitated. So we've had as many as, Linda, maybe 20 at a time in there? Yeah. So they do a great job. And, it's been one of the saddest stories on a snake, but we rehabilitated him. Someone had in their garage put one of those sticky traps, and a little black snake got into the garage and was stuck to that strip. And they worked and worked and worked with washing and washing and washing that, and they were able to get him off, but it took a layer of skin. So he was with us for the winter while his skin rehabilitated, and he was released in the spring, but away from that house, I might add. All righty. And there we go in the reptiles. Our true goal for representation is we try to reunite. And we have a specific group of people that is called the Raptor Task Force. Linda and I have both been on that Raptor Task Force. If you have a wild animal in your home or in your backyard or in the area that you find, and you have no means to get him to us, you can call this center, and there's a list of about 20 of us, and we'll try to go out and find that animal for you and capture it and bring it in. But we really rely on the goodness of the people to try to do their part in capturing these wild animals to bring to us. Yesterday I was working in the garden there, and some man brought in a bird that was sitting on his finger. I thought, oh my God, how is that happening? But apparently he had a wing injury and couldn't fly, and so the wife drove him in, and the bird just sat on his finger the whole time. We don't normally recommend that. We recommend you put it in in a box or even a laundry basket, that there's some kind of cover, because especially if you have a hawk or something and he's flown into a window and they come out of the shock and they decide to take off, we don't want a wild bird of any kind or animal loose in your car while you're driving him to us. So please take care to keep them covered. But yeah, that's some of the animals that we've brought in. I just love these owls. They're so sweet. All righty. These is a list of some of the non-natives that are here in Missouri and live all the time. House sparrows, European starlings, pigeon. They make great parents on their own. So that's what I mentioned before. Just try to take care of them at home, and if you find them, you can always tell. Usually these starlings, the babies have a big yellow mouth. You can tell them their big mouth and a big bright yellow. So just come to us and we'll check the birds out, and we'll give you a food kit to take home, and it's kind of fun to be able to do that. And they grow very quickly, so within 2 weeks they're probably on their own. All right, I wanted to go over a couple of myths that people always assume. I just had this on Thursday when I work. Someone brought in a bird, and she said, "Oh, I tried so hard not to touch it." That is a big myth. Birds have a really poor sense of smell. They rely mainly on ears and on eyesight, and so you can handle them, and Mom will come back. So you don't have to worry about touching most of these animals and giving them your scent. They will come back. There we go. Mom will not reject a chick if you have touched it. And people, this is one thing people just forget all the time. The moms are better at raising their babies than people are, even though so many people think they're the best at this. One funny story, I had a lady come in and she told me she had this bunny rabbit, and it was abandoned, and she came in and she had nothing in her hands, and she gave me all of her information where it was found, and she was talking about it, and I finally said to her, "Ma'am, is the rabbit in your car?" And she said, "No, I have it with me." And I said, "You do?" And she said, "Yeah." And she pulled her top out, and she dug down in her shirt, and she pulled out this pretty little baby bunny, and he was like grasping for air. He was like, "Oh my God, I'm not going to make it. Get me out of here." So it's best to put them in a little box, that kind of thing. That works so much better. I will tell you, if you find an injured animal, and it's like in the evening or whatever time of the day it is, the two most important things you can do is put them in a safe environment like a box, cover it, and put them in a dark area. Most likely these animals are in shock, and just as you do with humans, they need time to recuperate on their own. So please don't try to feed them. So many people think it's the best thing you can do. Now, if it's a little baby bunny or turtle or something like that, you can put a little water dish in there if you think they might have that ability to drink. But please do not try to force feed them things. One of our kestrels, of which is on our shirt here, his name is Cheeto. And can you guess why his name is Cheeto? Yeah, the person who found him kept him for like a week and fed him Cheetos every day. What are you thinking? I mean, so the poor thing did survive, and so now he has the name of Cheeto, and he is a lifelong animal at Lakeside. Conservation. Conservation is my passion at Lakeside. I am the conservation chairman. We have 10 different beds. The front of Lakeside is all of a prairie. And that's why a lot of people can't find Lakeside, because it sets back off of Gregory. We are located at 4701 Southeast Gregory Boulevard, and we're just like 2.5 miles, 2 miles off of 435 and about 2 miles off of 71 Highway on Gregory Boulevard. And we have these 10 native beds, and when I came as a volunteer in 2012, the garden beds were like 12 feet high, and they were solid thick, and you really couldn't see any of the individual plants that were in there. But one thing they did have, they had lots of birds in there. And it was I'm hitting the button again. I'm so sorry. There we go. There, we'll go to this one. So you can see, look at our Monarda that's blooming there. It's really, or black-eyed Susans, I believe those are, that are blooming there. So over time now, we've been working and reestablishing these beds so that people can see you too can grow a native garden bed in your own backyard, or even if you have just a pot. I am not even touching it. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, there we go. So that's our goal, is to let people see how you too can have these garden beds. That's some of it growing. That's hairy mountain mint right there. And what's so cool is we do have this giraffe project. Linda has helped us many times. I think, Jennifer, you even helped with this. It's an ongoing project that was established about 6 years ago. The zoo contacted us and wanted to know if we carried a plant called prairie bundleflower. sometimes known as, it's mainly known as Illinois bundleflower. Here it is, right here. It's in the mimosa family. They have found that the leaves of this plant are very healthy for the giraffe herd at the zoo. If you remember, about 4 years ago, they lost 2 of their animals, 2 of their giraffes, a mama giraffe, and I'm going to put this down and do it that way. I think that would be better. And so the veterinarian at the zoo began researching. It was due to a stomach ailment, and they couldn't figure out why they were losing him. So he began researching, and he found out that here these animals that come from away across the world could thrive on a plant that was growing here in Missouri. So they asked us if we had any. Well, I went out searching, and lo and behold, we had a lot of it. So we have been cutting it. We just cut 2 giant black bags of it yesterday. I now have a plot of it planted at my house. I cut it yesterday and took it down when we did ours, and we are able to help with the feeding. It takes a lot. So I think there are about 10 different locations around the Kansas City area that now are growing it, and the zoo has planted their own fields as well. Here is something exciting I have about 4 real hardcore volunteers that help me monthly on the garden beds, and we were contacted yesterday, and so this is kind of cool for the public. They're going to start. Their hope is they want to start opening up the giraffes to the public for feedings, but they need to go through a desensitization process. So they've asked groups that are connected with the prairie bundleflower to come in and help with feedings of them. And so I'm going to get to go feed a giraffe. I'm so excited. So there's like 4 of us that are going to get to do that to help with this desensitization of them. So hopefully by next summer, you'll be able to come to the zoo with your family and pay whatever it is to be able to get some lettuce leaves or prairie bundleflower and feed them yourselves. So we hope it's a very successful project. This is part of the harvesting for it. Sometimes we harvest the seed heads from it, and that's what Donna Teachman is doing there. You can see we got our black bag, and we got this wonderful thank you note a few years ago from the zoo, and that was so worthwhile to get that and validated what we were doing. I have to talk about the gardens. That is taken in winter, and that's taken in the back of Lakeside. Immediately behind Lakeside, we have a water feature, and behind that, a marsh. Now, see, I'm not even touching it. It's on a timer, right? Is that on time? No? Oh, okay. So we feed lots of deer. We put out food for everybody. And that's winter. And here we're going into spring. You can see some of the plants that we showcase there. 9-bark, we have a 9-bark plant that's over 20 years old and still producing, gorgeous. False indigo, one of my favorite, Baptisia, spiderwort. In summer, we have butterfly milkweed blooming as well as a lot of common milkweed. Bee balm, which is Bernarda fistuliosa, as well as Plains coreopsis. I just cleaned out the bed of the Plains coreopsis yesterday. And this is one of my favorite. This picture was taken by one of the gals on our committee, Frances Kane, and this is a zebra swallowtail on the rattlesnake master. If you want an unusual plant for your garden, think of rattlesnake master because it has such an unusual feature to it. And bees and butterflies just love it. You wouldn't think that. And in the fall, we try to plant plants for all year long, all season, every season. So we have aromatic aster, which one of the last plants that bloom before frost and sometimes even after frost. And it really is a wonderful plant. New England aster as well as aromatic aster I would highly recommend for your own private garden beds. Purple coneflower, echinacea, is a favorite. Leave it after it's done blooming because those seed heads are what help feed the finches during the winter time. And lots of blazing star. That's a prairie plant, and as well as goldenrod, and it does very well and is a huge pollinator plant. Here's some of my dedicated staff. This is actually our first director there, Kimberly Hess, who after she moved on, she came back and was volunteering with us. There's Susan and Laurie. That picture of Laurie was taken during COVID, but you can see we're knee-deep, we get knee-deep into the beds. All right, that is pretty much my presentation. I would like to open it up for a few questions. I don't know how I'm doing on my time. I'm good? Okay. If you have any questions.
All right. And ask it as a question.
And I ask that you just kind of speak slowly because sometimes I have a hearing loss. And if you speak real fast, the words all get jumbled together and then I have to process them. So if you speak a little slowly, I can manage.
Sure. So I noticed that you have a lot of kind of social events for kids. What would it take for us to do a field trip or picnic or whatever
A field trip
for adults?
for Oasis to come. You can, as I mentioned, it is pretty self-explanatory if you come on your own going through the center. We have all the cages and everything is labeled. However, if you would decide to come at a particular time, let Jennifer know and she can contact me and I would be glad to lead you on a tour there. I did not mention on your own, they have amazing trails. We have the Fox Hollow Trail, which is behind and around Lakeside, goes all the way around the back of the building, and it goes way down deep. So we have an upland forest, as well as a savanna habitat, as well as the prairie and the marsh. So you can see all of those habitats that exist there, and the trails are pretty well maintained. We constantly work on trying to get rid of, help me, Linda. Honeysuckle. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, it is, the bush honeysuckle has just invaded all of our forests here in the Kansas City area, so we work on that.
And the
But if you
viney
contact
Japanese.
if you contact us, I could help lead you on a tour.
I have a huge wildflower garden in my house, about 1,200 square feet. In the last couple of years, when it turned brown, I cut it down and mulch it up, and it comes back in the spring like gangbusters. Should I leave it and not cut it down?
My advice to you on that is you want to leave all of your foliage through the fall and winter, and then cut it down in like the end of March. End of March is a great time to get out, and then I cut most everything down. You want to cut it to about 18 inches because there's a number of species of bees that lay their eggs in the stems. And if you leave it, if it's too short, they don't have that ability. But if it's left about 18 inches, then they have, especially if the stems are hollow, that way there's an opportunity for the bees to lay their eggs. But yeah, leave it because the birds need coverage in the winter from the winds, and so many of the seeds, they'll just pick everything clean.
Oh, and never mind, you already answered my question.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was just wondering, do you know what they're gonna, I remember the old Lakeside concession stand there when it was a concession stand. Do you know do they have plans for that? Because it's a really cool building, so. No, I can see by the look on your face.
Yeah. It's really sad.
Yeah.
I think if people started contacting the Kansas City Zoo Board and said, we have this amazing structure here. A few years ago, about 10 years ago, someone set it on fire, and there's a big hole in the center. There used to be a cupola on top, and they set it on fire, and so now it's had this big hole in it. Finally, I think the city put a tarp at some point, but it's just falling apart. But it has good bones. It could be reconstructed. When we were located there, it was really a sad story because whenever we had a hard rain, Lake of the Woods would overflow and flood our basement, and that was where our rehab center was and where we kept our education animals. So they would, in the middle of the night, the staff would go and volunteers would go haul all of the animal cages out. We'd take it up to the Lake of the Woods Lodge, which is up on the hill about a half a mile away, and we'd have to keep them there for a number of days until the basement would dry out. and then we take them back. So it was critical that we got a better building. So, yeah, I wish I
Any
had
other
better
questions?
news for you on that. So,
What are the dates for your fundraisers? Do you
What
know?
are our-
The
what-
dates of your fundraisers?
the dates for
Fun-
like our
fundraisers, yeah.
fundraisers. The one is, I believe it's October 16th, whatever the Saturday is in October. It's like the third Saturday. And like I said, I'll pass that information on to Jennifer, and you can put it up here. If you go, we have an amazing website. It's all on the website. That's one of the things. I don't know if I passed over those questions. There you go. If you go to our Lakeside website, lakesidnaturecenter.org, you can check out opportunities. We have programs there once a month for families. We'll have one next Saturday, and it's going to be a really cool one. Every month, Friends of Lakeside, and as well as Jackie, our director, hosts these times for families. So those are usually on Saturdays from 10 until about 2 during the day. And then if you find injured or Missouri wildlife, call this number, and probably no one will answer, but you leave a message and we will get back to you. Linda and I are both we help with the night shift, so that you can call anytime, really any time of the night or day, and within several hours or a couple hours or sometimes a few minutes, one of us will get back to you with advice for what you can do. If you're living in Kansas and you find injured animals in Kansas, we cannot accept those. There's strict guidelines between Kansas and Missouri, but the go-to place in Kansas is Operation Wildlife. So that's where you would need to go there.
I was just wondering, do you have set hours?
Oh, the hours at Lakeside are from 9 to 4 every day, except Mondays. Mondays we're closed to the public so that we can do extra work with whatever animals in the center we need to do. Plus, that's a day we fast all the animals, and they kind of need some quiet.
Okay.
So-
And the outdoor trails are open all the time
Yeah.
for people? Okay, thank you.
Yep. The only time I think we're closed to the public is like Thanksgiving Day, New Year's Day, and Christmas Day. Other than that, we're open all the time, and it's always free. It's always free. So that's the other good news, that we don't want anybody to have the problem of not being able to come and visit us.
So great. We really appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
And I've been there. It's really fun. They have lots of tanks with different herbivores and reptiles, and you can watch them in their little kingdoms.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you.
Thank you. While our musician is coming back on the stage, Fenwa, we want to remind everyone that Kansas City Oasis is a 501c3 nonprofit run solely on donations and volunteers. If you like the topics and music today, please consider donating through kcoasis.org/donate or by Venmo. And if you can't take a picture of that Venmo, there's one on the jar by the T-shirt stand. Recurring monthly donations are most helpful. It's time for our last song from Fenwa. Remember, we have a cash tip jar up here for him as well on the stage, and his Venmo is listed up here on the big screen if you want to support his music. Go ahead.
Well, thank you everybody for letting me be here today. Thanks, Jason, for inviting me out again. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Will, right? Will? Thank you for running sound. Heck of a job. And it was wonderful to share the stage with Mary and Nick. You know, philosophy and conservation. If only a lot more people in this country cared about things like that, woo, my goodness, it would be kind of a nice place to live. Well, yeah. Anyway, so this is a song. This is a song. There we go. It's called Reckoning, and once again, thank you for listening, and hope you like it.
black cat in your path, you thought you shook. All the miles and broken dreams, empty halls and faded scenes. I'm just here for the reckoning. Dark night on a crossroads in Abilene. Fire and blood stains and symphonies for the damned. Like you and I am. I'm what you took. All the bait and traps on your hook. All the lies and pretty words, promises and mockingbirds. I'm just here for the reckoning. The crooked path on the lonely road to Abilene. Violent hearts, deepest scars, and nicotine. And I'm just here for the reckoning. The final deal for the dead to see in Abilene. The twist and thorn you're searching for in memories. They're gone, they're gone, they're gone. And I'm just here for the reckoning. And I gave up everything in Abilene. And I'm just here for the reckoning of the damned. Like you and I am. Thank you very much. And it's been a pleasure. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Fenwa. Today's lunch after Oasis is at the Grand Falloon on the Plaza. Continue the conversation with other Oasians. There is convenient on-street parking available through the plaza. There are several free parking garages within a short walking distance of the Grand Falloon. Next week, August 17th, we will hear from Douglas Culp on modern money theory. Our musician will be Michael Galanti, and the community moment will be from Terry Allen. Before we head out to lunch, please take a few minutes to help clean up. There are many volunteer opportunities for Oasis each week. Please see the tasks in the lobby marked "Need Help." Also, if you could help us carry all the leftover rummage sale items back against the wall to the right here to the basement, they will be donated soon. We want to thank again this week's presenters, Mary and Nick, and musician Fenwa, and thank you for being here or tuning in online. See you next week.